Hi, everybody. My name is Rita Crompton, host of Invent America Radio and America's Inventor Lady. And we've been, really digging into this R&D tax credit for inventors. We want to make sure that you know what you need to know to be able to take full advantage of this at a certain point in time, because it's not like you can start doing it today, but maybe next year. And our expert is Sybil Bailey, and she's going to talk us through, R&D 101 for inventors. So Sybil, thanks so much for being with us today. Tell our inventors, your background in the company, all right, so that they know they've got an expert here. And then we're going to start out with just what do they need to know as they're starting their business.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So as Rita mentioned, my name is Sybil Bailey. I work with Arvo Clarisign D. I've been here a little over 4 years now. So definitely have put in some time here and learned a lot about the R&D tax credit in the process. And it's honestly such a great kind of resource that a lot of companies just don't know about, especially those younger companies. So we're here to help educate and help give those companies the right tools to either learn more about it or claim it. So we're just here to kind of assist in any way that we can regarding the R&D tax credit.
Well, that's one of the things that just fascinated me when I first started hearing about it, was how many people had no idea. It's like, well, I'm not inventing a new, spaceship. I'm not inventing a new airplane. And then to find out, it's like, no, you could have been, looking into this even if you had a new pet product. Development is development, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of industries that qualify, and many industries and many of those that are in these industries sometimes don't understand that they are in a specific industry that could qualify, and that development work that they're doing within there would also qualify. So we see a lot of software companies, manufacturing, biotech, agriculture, food and bev. So the list kind of goes on, but there are a lot of kind of industries that don't know about it that we're here to kind of help educate them on, and also find out what exactly they're doing developmentally wise in each of the companies or industries that would qualify for that R&D tax credit.
Well, one of the things that I've seen on the PowerPoint was, the first thing is like employees. Well, most of our inventors are not ever going to have employees. How do they still use that against their expenses and income when they're selling product, even though they don't have employees?
Yeah, so even if there's no employees, the main 3 buckets that we're going to be focusing on, the first is employees, but there are 2 additional buckets, the second being contracting expenses. So if they're contracting any developers within the United States, they can capture 65% of those expenses. And then any supplies that they used during the R&D process that are non-depreciable, they can also use those in kind of the calculation. And the credit will be roughly 7 to 10% of those qualified research expenditures. So even if they don't have employees, there are other buckets that they can use to claim this credit and kind of add to what they can bring home and put back into their business.
Well, that's good to know, because most of our inventors are in the other buckets.
Yep.
And, we look at sandboxes. So, being able to say, all right, because a lot of times, when they hear employees, it's like, I'm never going to be big enough to have an employee. But we need to get them to focus on the other 2 options. And it's like, no, you are going to be hiring a developer. Almost every single inventor I know has hired a developer to help them get to that proof of concept prototype.
Exactly. Yep. So that's, like I mentioned, one of the buckets. So as long as they have kind of something in there, there is a credit to be had.
So excellent. So when we were going through the PowerPoint, we were looking at the 3 R's. Explain to us, what are the 3 R's? Was it the 3 buckets, 3 R's?
Okay. Well, yeah.
What were the things that they had to do? Research and
yeah. I don't know if we call it the 3 R's, but for the QREs, is that maybe?
Okay, that might be it.
So the QREs are going to be those wages, contracting, and supplies.
Okay. All right. So when an inventor is getting started, all right, how should they say, all right, I know I can't do it yet, when can they get to the point where that, yeah, all right, so they've got to be doing the development of the prototype. We know that part, but they don't have any income right away to take it against. How do they manage that?
Yeah, so they can, depending on kind of when they see that income come like projected, they can claim it now and carry it forward up to 20 years, or they could kind of give it a few years. There is a 3-year look back that they can go back and do to claim the credit as well and use it towards that income tax liability. So definitely worth jumping on a call with someone from our team to kind of see what their current credit calculation might look like, and kind of talk through those different options of possibly waiting a year or two and doing a look back, or claiming it now and carrying it forward until that point of having that income to use it against.
Okay, so where do they go? If they go to the website,
Mm-hmm.
are they allowed to download worksheets, bullet points? Where can they start saying, okay, I know that I'm going to get there, but this is what I need to understand? Because I think for a lot of them, they don't have any idea how to take it, use it, and
Yeah. So on the website, there will be a calculator. You can put in some of that basic information from those QREs that we talked about. So kind of what those contracting expenses might look like at this point, what those supplies are looking like. That should give a rough estimate. In terms of kind of areas to look for in terms of documenting it. So we're, like I said, with focus on the calculation being on those QREs, we're going to want some documentation on what those contracting expenses looked like, what the supplies expenses looked like, what supplies were you using, some of those details around the R&D that they were doing, what exactly is the product that they're producing. So really any details around the R&D that they can document prior to claiming it will only make the process even more seamless and easier for both them and us when trying to go back and claim that credit.
all right. So, when they've got questions, how do they use your services?
Yeah, so we offer a free consultation. So they're really able to jump on a call with someone from our sales team. Even if it is too early for them to claim it, our sales team will stay in contact with them to check in, see how things are going, and also just act as a resource if they have questions throughout their R&D process of, hey, would this qualify? What does this look like? So we really are there to help along the way, even if it is too early. Our team can be a great resource when claiming the credit, but also prior to claiming that credit.
That's great. I mean, I've known so many inventors over the years, and this, little video tutorial is going to go out to everybody that I've known who still is in that process of, the development part of that, and now have income that they could go back and use it. But certainly the ones that are getting teed up, and the ones that are, they've just recently gone into getting a product made, and hopefully it's not sitting on a dock in China someplace. I've got a bunch of those as well. But now that they're getting ready to sell, they've got inventory. And, a lot of that development gets done here on the U.S. soil before they send it overseas to get the manufacturing done. So we want to make sure now that they're getting, all their documents in place, and they're getting teed up, and they know how to use your services, so that when they go to their own accountant, because you don't take the place of the accountant.
Nope. Yep. We're strictly just there to assist with the R&D. So we will help prepare the tax forms in the study. We can get in touch with their accountant to provide those final forms if they wish, but they are just going to be working with us strictly on the R&D portion, and then providing those tax forms to their CPA or tax preparer to include either on an amended or an original return.
Well, that's excellent to know. And this is something that's been around for a long time, and it was those bigger companies that do have a lot of employees. But now it's only been the last few years that it was really kind of geared down now for the independent inventor to use as a resource.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So before, it was really only known and used by those larger corporations, but they have made adjustments to make it more useful and more available to those younger startup sort of companies.
So, well, that's great. And there are just thousands of inventors out there that need to know more about this. And so we are excited to have you guys helping us and being able to get the word out there to them, because I can tell you that 9 out of 10 inventors that I talk to have never heard of this as being an option.
Yeah, we come across that often. So definitely wanting to raise awareness and also help.
It was so funny. There was a really sophisticated inventor, and he goes, "Oh, I know my accountant, knows about this." The next thing he goes, "Nope, he's never heard of it. What's their name?"
Yeah, we hear that all too often, but we're happy to help.
Well, I am grateful. I know all the inventors out there are grateful, and getting them to know what to do, what records to keep, and how to look forward to it. And that whole idea that, you can claim that credit for, take it off for 20 years. For some of them, it takes, 5 to 6 years to get something teed up and to the point where they're selling and having some income then to take against it. So we're going to be looking at, having you on again and saying, okay, this is how you use that 20-year thing. All right.
Yep, I look forward to it. Thanks, Rita.
All right. So, well, you take care now, and thanks so much.
You too. Bye-bye.